Anthony F. Elmore, President and founder of the Proud Black Buddhist World Association. We at the Proud Black Buddhist World Association are not only the Black Buddhist force in America, but we are the Black Buddhist force in the world. And today we bring you one of our most exciting and most important Buddhist lectures. My lecture today is called The Christian Religion and the Black Buddhist Connection. The reason we need Black Buddhist teachers is to teach the Black Buddhist history, unknown to most people, that the religion of Jesus Christ comes from the Black Buddhist religion. People who practice the Christian religion have no idea of the history and association between the Christian religion and the Black Buddhist connection. We're going to tell you about that today. The facts and history of the Christian religion and its Black Buddhist connection is not some wild idea or concept proposed by Anthony F. Elmore. We learn our facts from the famed 18th century British historian, archaeologist, and scientist, Sir Godfrey Higgins, who wrote about this in his book titled The Anacalypsis. Now, The Anacalypsis is a book which is title said an attempt to draw the veil of the Semitic Isis, or an inquiry into the origin of languages, nations, and religions. It is a lengthy 2-volume treatise written after his death in 1836. Now, in the Anacalypsis, Godfrey Higgins writes about the Black Buddhist religion. And this is what he says, quote, "The time has now arrived when it becomes proper to enter upon the examination of the doctrines of the celebrated Buddha of India, which were the foundations of all the mythoses of the Western nations, as well as those which have seen of Krishna, and from these two were supplied the superstitions which became engrafted into the religion of Jesus Christ." Unquote. See, this British historian writes that the foundations of all the mythoses of Western nations come from the Black Buddha in India. See, what we know as the religion of Jesus Christ all comes from the religion of the Buddha. This idea that all the teachings of Christian religions come from the teachings of the Black Buddha of India is verified via archaeology, anthropology, literary science, and genetic science. Today, we want you to stop the video, go get your notes, and confirm many of the things we say. Now, let us bring this concept into a 21st century paradigm. The reason that we do not know about the Black Buddhist connection to the Christian religion is because the Buddha was black, and it is because of racism and prejudice that we do not know these history and facts. The most difficult reality about these Black Buddhist facts of history and science is that those who oppose the inclusion of the facts of black science and history are black people who have been trained by white people who rewrote history and black people out of the religion. Now, the difficult part of this dissertation is talking to most Christians about the subject. Most Christians do not deal in science, history, archaeology, anthropology, genetic science, or literary science. The writings that most Christians refer to is only the Bible, and most Christians refuse to discuss subjects outside of the Bible. We call this apocryphal. Now, biblical apocryphal is a set of texts included in the Latin Vulgate and the Septuagint, but not in the Hebrew Bible. While Catholic tradition considers the text to be Deuterocanonical, Protestant considers them apocryphal. Thus, Protestant Bibles do not include the books within the Old Testament, but have often included them in a separate section. Now, for the sake of this Black Buddhist lecture, we use the word apocryphal to describe Christian writings, in that we only find such evidence as believed as true, but such evidence is only authenticated in the Bible, but no other sources. You see, many of the things that we write about, or when you come to the issue of Jesus Christ, Jesus is only apocryphal in that there is no reference to a Jesus outside of the Bible. Now, let me venture into sacred and fearful territory in regards to apocryphal. In regards to the story of Jesus Christ, there exists no evidence of a Jesus Christ outside of the Bible or the first 30 years of his life. The worst thing that I can say in our modern American culture is to bring up facts. Now, the fact that you to think about the words archaeological, anthropological, literary science, connects Buddha and Christ. Recently, scientists made an important archaeological discovery that puts the Buddha back as far as 650 BC, or before anyone had ever heard of a Jesus Christ. Certainly, the original Jesus Christ was a black man. However, archaeological evidence shows Jesus as a white man in the 2nd century AD. We're going to get to that. Now, let us discuss the one fact that white people, Asians, and religious experts try to keep away from the light of day. The one thing that everyone hides and keeps hidden is the Buddha, or Buddha's relationship in Africa. This is the point: if you keep the Buddha out of Africa, then you can hide the Buddha's relationship or the Black Buddhist connection to Christian history. See, let me speak from a matter of fact. White people, black religious leaders, Asian Buddhist teachers all keep Buddha out of Africa, and none of them would teach or share the history and culture of Buddhism in Africa. This is the point: when you can connect Buddha in Africa is when you can connect Black Buddhist history with Christian history. Now, the Greeks called black people Ethiopians or burnt skin. Now, Plato, Alexander the Great, Diogenes, Laterus, Strabo, Philos, Judaeus, Titus, Flavius, Clemens, and all white historians confirm about the Buddhists and Buddhism coming to Greece, Rome, Ethiopia, Axum, Egypt, Persia, Babylonian, Arabia, Jerusalem, and almost all of the world. You see, There are two literary statements we want to quote from Herodotus. And quote, upon his return to Greece, they gathered around and asked, tell us about the great land of blacks called Ethiopia. And Herodotus said, quote, there are two great Ethiopian nations. One is Sin, India, and the other is Egypt. That's from Dorius, Greek historian, 100 BC. Herodotus writes about India, quote, all the tribes I mentioned, their skin are much the same color, much like the Ethiopians. Now this is from the history Herodotus. Now, this is what British historian Sir Godfrey Higgins writes about Herodotus and Buddhism. Herodotus speaks of Nero as the cradle of the Gymnosophists or Buddhists. Higgins writes, quote, we see here that the followers of Buddha are called Gymnosophists. It has been observed that the Nero of Ethiopia was Meru. This is confirmed by the observation of Herodotus that the priests of Nero were of a humane character and were called Gymnosophists. This humane character that he's talking about is the Christian or the brotherly love of the Buddhists. Now, when we come to Herodotus, we are over 400 years before the world ever heard of the religions called Christianity, Judaism, and Islam. We at this point, based on Herodotus, learn that there were two Ethiopias. Now, let us connect the two Ethiopias, India and Africa, with a people and a history. Before there was ever a white man to describe a black man as Ethiopian, there were black people who named themselves, and they were called Kush or Kushites. Now, the kingdom of Kush was an ancient kingdom in Nubia located at the confluence of the Blue Nile, the White Nile, and River Abara, in what is now Sudan and South Sudan. We are at 400 BC, and the Greek historian Herodotus writes that Nero was the cradle of the Gymnosophists or Buddhists. Now, how do we connect the Buddhists from India to Nubians in Africa? Exactly who were the Nubians? Now, the term Kushite is a general term that refers to Nubians, Sutra, Neotes, Egyptians, Anu, Canaanites, and Afro-Sumerian rulers of Mesopotamia. See, linguistic and archaeological evidence suggests that the Dravidian pre-scribes held to a religion that reflects Proto-Saharan beliefs and practices. Now, let's go back to the Greeks. Now, there was an Afro-Greek writer named Homer who alluded to the diversity and unity of the Kushite empires when he wrote, quote, a race divided when the sloping rays, the rising and setting of the sun rays, before Homer's time, in the 8th century BC, there was a time when a vast dominion that stretched from West Africa to India, and it was dominated by rulers and priests who were ethnically Kushite. Now, this is what you must understand about the Buddhist religion. Early Buddhist practitioners, the Buddhists were Kushites. They are different names for the same people in India. They are known as Dravidian. Now, the Dravidian and the Nubian are the same people. All these people were Afro-Asian and they spoke the same language. Let me give you a point in history. The Kushites ruled the world, and in Japan they were called the Anu, or the original people of Japan. They were in China, they were in Asia, they were all over the world. Now, these Japanese who teach us Nichiren Buddhism are not going to teach black people that the original people of Japan were Kushite or the Black Anu. The one thing that whites, Asians, and blacks who are trained by white people make sure that black people do not learn is about the Buddhist religion, is the fact that Buddhism from India and the Nubians or Kushites in Africa are one and the same people who spoke the same language. When Herodotus visited Nubia, or the capital of Kush, he wrote that Miro was the cradle of the Gymnosophists or the Buddhists. Now, the foundation of what later became the Christian Bible came from the Buddhists as revealed by Godfrey Higgins in his 1836 book, The Anacalypsis. Before there was ever the thought of a Christian Bible, our ancestors, the Black Buddhists, wrote the book of Genesis. What Christians have in the Bible is apocryphal writings. Now, we Black Buddhists have archaeological evidence. There were two Christs in history. There is the African Christ, which is the original Christ, and there is the Roman Christ. Let me make this very, very clear. We proud Black Buddhists love, respect, and honor the African Christ. There is clearly a history, culture, and African background of the African Christ that has been written out of history. For those of you who would like to know the difference between the African Christ and the Roman Christ, the difference is Abraham, 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 Abraham. It is British historian Godfrey Higgins who teaches us that Abraham was a Brahmin, and Abraham means a Brahmin. And the teachings of the two Christs is the teachings of the African Christ, and the white Christ was the teachings of Abraham or the Brahmin. On page 256 of the Anacalypsis, Godfrey Higgins writes, quote, "The real, true, conscientious Buddhists must have been an exact prototype of Jesus Christ, as I shall prove both in doctrine and practice." Unquote. You see, the real and original Christians in world history were the Black Buddhists. For the record, before any white man ever thought of being a Christian, the real and original Christians were Black Buddhists. Now, on page 230 in the Anacalypsis, Godfrey Higgins writes, quote, for the origin of the cross, we must go to the Buddhists and the Lama of Tibet. In Tibet, this cross is called a Dajori. Now, the African cross of the Anak in ancient Egypt came from the Buddhist teachings. The cross in Roman Christianity did not become official until King Constantine of Rome endorsed the cross hundreds of years after the death of Christ. Now, while the cross is the foundation of the Christian religion, the cross in Buddhism symbolizes the Buddhist concept of enlightenment. It was the African Christians or Buddhists who came up with the cross. Now, please note that the word Christ in Buddha means the same thing. The word Jesus represents an individualized level of enlightenment in Christian experience. See, Christ, on the other hand, represents an epitaph in the explanation of the quality of enlightenment reached by Jesus. For this reason, in the context of Western Mythoses, Jesus represents the perfect mode, the inner workings of the purified substance in the vehicle in which the path of awakening, the level of Christ's consciousness takes place. Now, the word consciousness, now in Sirach, Messiah, and in Greek, Christos means the anointed one. As for the word Nazarene, the meaning is, quote, he who reveals what is hidden. Now, as far as the word Messiah, it has two meanings: the Christ or the anointed one and the measured one, unquote. Now, please note that Jesus in Hebrew means redemption, and the word Nazareth means the truth. Thus, the Nazarene means the truth. Jesus had attained Nazaretha, perfect spiritual enlightenment, and that he also taught this path to others. Hence, Jesus and his disciples were Nazarenes or Nazarenes, meaning followers of the mystic path to God or the pure being. The original apostles used the term Jesus the Nazarene, Messiah, which means Jesus the Nazarene, the Christ, the anointed one. Atone and enlightenment is one and the same word. Remember, now, his last name is Christ. The first name is Jesus. The middle name is Nazarene. Now, hence, the name Jesus Christ of Nazareth means the anointed one, the giver of truth, the bringer and the source of redemption, the revealer of what is hidden, the enlightened one, who has the gift to awaken one. The teachings of Christ and Buddha was originally based on the teachings of enlightenment. Now, hundreds of years before there was ever a religion that was officially called Christian, white people and people over the world practiced the religion of the black god and his mother. You see pictures all over the world of the black god and his mother. It was only in 325 AD at the Council of Nicaea that King Constantine made the religion official. Now, what he did was he added the god of England or Britain called Jesus to the name, and then they added the name from the Krishnas. See, the Krishnas was another set of Buddhists, and they officially called the religion of the new god Jesus Krishna. However, the religion of the black god and his mother was all over Europe. At this time, we had the Kushan Empire, but the Kushan, or the Kush Empire rather, had changed its name to Abyssinia because it changed to become Christian. Now, what I want you to understand, that in the Bible, how we know about the Buddhists is the word Samaritan. See, in the Bible, that was the Good Samaritans. In the story of Christ, British historian Godfrey Higgins spells Samaritan, or he writes the Samaritans were the Gymnosophis of Buddhists. Now, the word Samaritan means Buddha or Buddhist people. The Buddhists or passive people brought their religion or Christ or Buddha into Italy. When you see the Catholic Church, the Black Madonna you are looking at is the Buddha and his mother Maya. Higgins also writes, quote, "We see here that the followers of Buddha are called Gymnosophis. It is observed that Miro of Ethiopia was Miru. This is confirmed by an observation of Herodotus that priests of Miro were of a humane character and were called Gymnosophis." This is what white people do not tell black people. For hundreds of years, white people in Europe practiced the religion of the Buddha all over Europe. White people practice Buddhism, and you will see whites honoring the black baby child, Buddha, and his mother. I beg my viewers to stop and think for a moment. How is it that we find all over Europe the image of a black god and his mother? Just Google the Black Madonna and try to find out why we have the Black Madonna. When you research such things, like the Da Vinci Code idea is conjured that it is somehow connected to forbidden secrets of Mary Magdalene. See, ladies and gentlemen, there is a secret regarding the Christian religion, and the secret is, quote, the Black Buddhist Connection to Christian history. These secrets have been unraveled hundreds of years ago by British historian Sir Godfrey Higgins. Again, I repeat what he writes, quote, "But all these accounts seem to show signs of the first black Buddhist people as either no animal food or the black Pagasi or Armenians as coming to Italy and bringing the black god and his mother along with them. The original Christians were black Buddhists, and the original Christians was Buddhists. That is us, the proud black Buddhists. I am Anthony Elmore, President and founder of the Proud Black Buddhist World Association, bringing to you a new and exciting Buddhist lecture. All ancient icons show a simple fact. They all show that the Buddha was black. I believe in facts and Akeda was